Hi everyone, David here from Craft Obsessions. We've got a fantastic product to show you. It's something that we discovered at CHA, or Creativation as it's now called, back in January. And it's a little bit off the wall for us really in terms of the type of product that we would normally sell. And it's basically a product called Amodex. It's America's #1 ink and stain remover. What we really liked about it is we started to think about, all those little crafty accidents that we all have. You drop an ink pad. If you're going to drop an ink pad, it's going to be a stays-on ink pad, which is solvent-based. It's going to land ink surface down, a bit like dropping a piece of toast after you've just put butter on it. So you're going to have stains and all of this kind of stuff when you're crafting. You're going to have little accidents. And we started to wonder whether Amodex would be good for crafters, and it is. Wait till you see this. What I'm going to do very, very quickly, the most important thing to remember about Amodex is it's the world's only soap-based ink and stain remover, but it removes solvent. It's incredible. What I've got here is a permanent marker pen. I'm just going to draw on my hand. I've also got a Sharpie pen. Anybody in crafting knows Sharpie pens really well. I'm also going to draw on my hand with Sharpie pen. I'm going to let that dry just for a little while and just talk a little bit more about the product. It's non-toxic, it's non-solvent, it's not a bleaching agent, nor is it an abrasive agent. It's just purely soap. It's skin friendly, it's atmosphere friendly, whatever you want to call it. It does the job really, really well, and I'll show you how. So basically, you can imagine trying to wipe that off your hands. It would take a little while. Both of these inks are solvent based. I'm just going to use a little bit of, I've got a smaller bottle. You can see how good it is. It's even removing the screen print from the bottle. So, you can just sort of see how good the product is. And all I'm going to do is just use a tiny little bit on my hand, take a piece of kitchen roll, and I'll just rub that. Remember that this is permanent pen and Sharpie. Look at that, off my skin. So you can imagine cleaning your hands when you've been crafting, all of the ink and everything that gets under your nails, you can get all that out. But I'll just show you a couple of classic accidents, if you like. Here's some cotton. This is just an old pillowcase that I cut up. And I've got some stays-on ink, remember, solvent based. Nasty to get out of your clothes or out of any fabric if you do drop it. I'm just basically going to plonk a load onto my thumb, make sure I've got a fair amount of ink on there, and I'm just basically going to rub that onto a piece of fabric. Now normally if you went to attack that with a stays-on cleaner, which is a solvent based cleaner, what you'd more often than not get with a solvent cleaner is it would thin the ink as opposed to fully remove it. So just to prove again, I've just got all of the ink off my thumb and it was stays on, just using my little bottle of Amodex. So all I'm going to do is take a little bit of kitchen towel, fold it over a couple of times and place it beneath the stain. It's important to note that you shouldn't treat the stain with anything else, even water, before you try and get rid of the stain with Amodex. Even laying water on top of a stain first has the effect of partially setting the stain onto the fabric. So all I'm going to do now is just apply, and you see I'm not using a massive amount of the cleaner. The actual bottle that you're getting in the kit is 4 ounces. The one that I'm using here is just a 1 ounce bottle. And all I'm going to do is, with the brush that's provided, I'm just going to start working the Amodex into the stain. Now you can already see it's going grey around the outside of the actual stain itself. You don't need to worry too much about that because the ink is actually contained within the Amodex that I've put on there. So it looks like you're actually spreading the stain out further, but you're not. I promise that will come out. So you can see as I'm working this in with the brush, what I will do is remove this, and you can see this is a bit grey under here. So it's basically forcing the ink through the fabric to get rid of it. I'll just put a little bit more on there. Again, you can see I'm not using a massive quantity. I have actually poured stays-on re-inker directly onto the fabric just to see if Amodex would get that out, and it did. It just needed probably 5 or 6 applications, and one of those actually left overnight. You can imagine that there was a lot of ink on there, but it did actually get it out, and the material was left spotless. So you can see, again, just to stress the point, stays on ink, solvent based, using Amodex, which is a soap only cleaner and ink remover. We're pretty much there. All I'm going to do now is take some water. I'm going to drop the fabric in and just swish that around to get rid of the Amodex, and you'll see in a second. Just quickly straighten that out so it's not soaking wet. Move the water out of the way, and there we go. Stays on ink, on fabric, removed. How cool is that? You can also use it on things like silk, you can use it on leather, you can use it on non-porous surfaces. For example, I've got a piece of dry white wall here. We just cut a piece, you know, like off a notice board. I've written on here with Sharpie and permanent ink. And what I'll do actually is use some of the Amodex that's still on the cloth here. I won't clear all of the words off for you, but you'll just see I'm just rubbing. So there's nothing abrasive in here, but you'll see that the permanent ink and the Sharpie ink, without even applying any more of the Amodex product, is actually removing the permanent ink from this non-porous surface. So you get the idea. What I also want to show you though, as well as being a great product for crafters, you know, imagine the kids get hold of your pens and start to draw all over the work and the paint surfaces. What I've got here, I'll use a dry piece of cloth because I don't want anything wet. What can I use? Lipstick. Not exactly my colour, but you get the idea. So I put lipstick on there, and you know how hard. Brenda assures me that lipstick is hard to get out of fabric. So I'm just going to, again, put a little bit of kitchen towel underneath the stain. I'm going to apply some of my Amodex, and watch this. It's like magic. I'll just clean my brush because I've got some stays on there. And I'll just basically rub this in, and you'll see all the ink starts to, or the lipstick I should say, all starts to disperse. You'll see underneath on the kitchen roll, you need to just keep repositioning that so that you've got a clean piece. Apply a little bit more Amodex. Work it in with the brush. If you want to as well, you could just use your fingernail and just basically rub it in. Don't press too hard because you don't want to damage the fabric. All I'm doing is just basically not pressing too hard. I'm just dragging my fingernail across the stain. A little bit more. And for really stubborn stains, Brenda, for example, had a exploding pen, which was one of the things that really sort of, we took notice of the product at CHA. She had a pen explode in her handbag, and there was a lot of ink. And the guys at Amodex gave it 4 or 5 treatments over the course of the show, and by the end of it, all the ink had gone off her purse, and it was a beige coloured purse as well. So that's really one of the things that impressed us, the fact that they could get rid of that much ink. So again, just quickly wash that out, and you'll see all of the lipstick is gone. How fantastic is that? So Amodex, I think it's a product that we should all have as crafters to cover for all of those little accidents that we have from time to time. Either we get ink on our clothes, all over our hands, our work surface. You see it comes off non-porous surfaces really well. You can use it for all of your regular stain removal as well, things like biro. Sharpie actually recommend Amodex as being the #1 cleaner for removing their ink. And what you'll get in the kit is a 4-ounce bottle, which will go a long way. As I say, I've been using my little 1-ounce bottle here. This is 4 times the size of that. You're also going to get 5 of the stain swipes. And what you'll find when you open these up is the cloth inside is really well soaked in Amodex fluid. And what I do is actually snip across the top of the packet rather than rip across the tear here, so that I can put the fabric back into the sachet when I've used it, fold over the top and stick a paper clip on it, because so long as it's protected from air, the Amodex solution isn't going to dry out, so you can use it more than once. But this is basically the same material, the same solution that's in the Amodex bottle. It's just already on a little wipe, so it's ready to go. You don't have to find a cloth or anything. You can use it as you go along for, you know, either removing things in the car or, you know, wherever you happen to be where you have a little bit of a mishap and you want to get rid of ink. Remember not to treat the stain with anything else first. Go straight for your Amodex, and you'll find that it really works so well. So that's it. Amodex, remember, soap-based cleaner, ink and stain remover, and it works on pretty much anything. Thanks for your time. See you again soon. Take care. Take care. All the best.